Good afternoon. Welcome to the April 17, 2018 Glendale Housing Authority meeting being called to order at 3:07. May I please have the roll call, please?
Authority members Devine.
Here.
Garcia. Garpetian.
Here.
Najarian.
Present.
Marazian.
Here.
Sinanian. Here. Chair Agajanian.
Present.
The report.
Yeah, may I have your report?
The agenda for the April 17, 2018 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Friday, April 13, 2018 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Next item is the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Is there one? Yeah. Second. So,
Roll call.
hearing no objection, yes?
You could,
Is there, so the minutes stated approved as submitted. What's next, please?
Next is oral communication. One card was submitted.
Chinook Ramirez, please.
I need a tow truck. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by saying hello to my wonderful United States military aviators, my Gillespie Daredevil pilots extraordinaire that are flying above the city of Glendale. To all our beloved pilots and military, we welcome you to the city of Glendale, and may you be safe and all your families as well. And I'd like to dedicate this song to all pilots and military aviators because it's going to rain on Thursday, so be careful. The movie is called Singing in the Rain and Dancing in the Rain with Gene Kelly. It's one of the most beautiful movies, and it's just so inspiring. So God bless all my pilots and military. On a positive note, I'd like to pass this over to City Clerk, please. Thank you very much. I'd like to give credit where credit is due. I'm very finicky about where I go eat. I'm very picky. And I went to this wonderful place. It's called Tulumba Mama Bakery. It's at 1128 East Broadway, Glendale, California, 91205. And it's a wonderful bakery. It's Armenian, Russian, and it's just delightful. I had my coffee there, and I had my bakery, and all my pastries. Goodness gracious, it was delicious, I tell you. So I eat there quite frequently. It's in the CVS parking structure there. But I just want to let you know that that's what I enjoy. I enjoy these Armenian and Russian pastries. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say this. Housing means nothing when gangbangers and criminal felons are able to get into your home when you're not there. No security works. I realize that. Simply Safe and ADT, none of it works. However, there's one secure system that works. It's 100% proof. It will work. If you got somebody at home watching the house, that's the only system that will work. So if I had somebody watching my home, if I had one, I wouldn't have to worry of carrying my stuff. That's it. That's the only 100% proof system that will work. So I'm disappointed in America. Truly, I'm disappointed because in the 21st century, you would think you'd have, with all the brilliant minds we have in this country, we don't have high tech that protects our home, our garages, our vehicles. And we've had ID theft at an alarming rate. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the locksmith, most of the locksmiths are involved in a black market scheme. And so there are only a few locksmiths that have ethics, that will not violate another human being's home or invade it. But that is a problem. And I think it's nothing more than a black market racketeering and fraud. But having said that, I see housing as a double-pronged problem. Security, now to enter your home, the crime rate, and trying to get housing in a crisis. We have a housing crisis. So I wish somebody could fix it. I wish somebody could do it. I know that our beloved President and Honorable Donald Trump is not able to massively do it all at once, but I wish every city would implement something that would go ahead and spread like mushrooms, finding a new biometric system where you can touch the door with your finger and it only opens up for you. And if somebody tries to get it opened up, or it fails to open, break the door down. That's it. So nobody can break into your home. So I wish that every city would implement a safe, secure system, a biometric, open your door, nobody can get in, and voila, you've got a home that is safe, secure, and protected. And if that were to happen, we could pass that information to every city across America, and we would not have any more criminals invade your home and your privacy and your security. Because that is so sacred. When you've been violated, that's sacred. You trust nobody. You see me? I carry all my bags. And by the way, the good news is I got a tent, so I sleep inside a tent, so I have some privacy down in La Placita. And that's a good thing. I come out here because I take care of a couple things that I do need to take care of. So I have a tent to sleep in, and I've been able to deter a lot of the criminals. And but again, showers is an issue, and but when there's Santa Monica Beach, we go out there and wash from head to toe, and we don't want to smell like stink bombs. We want to make sure we're clean and we're tidy, and we go to laundry 3 times a week and disinfect everything with Lysol. At least that is my routine. But that is my life, and for whatever reason, this hellhole that I'm in, I don't wish it upon anybody, but this is what I have before me. So again, I don't advise shelters. They don't work. They're unsafe, they're unclean, and they're unsanitary. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you. Oral communication is closed. What's next, please?
Authority member and staff comments.
Are there any authority member or staff comments?
I have a question to staff. Madam City Manager, what is the source of our housing funds, the types of funds that we use for implementing low-income housing programs? Or what are the sources, I should say, if there are multiple?
For low-income housing, I'm going to ask Peter to come up just to give us a brief overview of what that is. I know it's not brief and it's complicated. And we can always come back with an extensive report, but just a quick highlight that you might share.
Peter, and I'm not referring to whatever the state pitches in with making a certain project possible. I'm referring to what are our resources and how do we derive them?
Okay. They're for housing development and
Yeah.
or preservation efforts.
Yes.
2 sources of funds locally that we control. One is from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. That's the HOME program. HOME. We've had that for a number of years. We've seen highs of about $2 million annually being awarded to us. Most recently, in the last few years, it's dwindling around to about $900,000, $800,000 a year. So we can put those monies into a project. The other source of funds,
And those monies, the home funds,
federal home funds, correct.
are, can we accumulate them or do we have to spend them on an annual basis?
You have to spend them on an annual basis. You can accumulate a couple of years' worth of funding before it's at risk of being taken back by
Right.
HUD.
Which
And
at $900,000 probably doesn't really, it's
No,
not going to
nine-
make a project possible because we've
Exactly.
accumulated 2 years
Yeah.
of home funds, okay?
Exactly, and that's one of the arguments we've had with HUD over time, is that as they've been reducing us, they haven't been alleviating some of the conditions like that or requirements like that that make it harder to develop. And there's been some leeway on that. The other source of funds is the old redevelopment set-aside funds, and it's now been called by the state as low and moderate income housing asset fund. That to date is our biggest source of funding because of a number of deposits that have been made into that fund that the state was not able to recapture when they eliminated redevelopment. So there are some bond proceed monies that we'll be receiving, as well as some city repayment loans that'll be coming into that fund.
How about, do we have some kind of an impact fund from downtown specific?
No, there's no development impact fee. We were authorized to go ahead and take a look at a study to look at that and possibly inclusionary zoning ordinance, and we'll be coming back to you in May
Okay.
with some of that discussion.
So as we potentially, hopefully, start looking at the next project after Fifth and Sonora, and at the time, a few years ago, as Fifth and Sonora project was maturing, we were looking at other options like purchasing an existing building and rehabbing it and flipping it into a low-income housing. Where would those funds come from? Where did those funds come from that we were hopefully going to?
If we were to have a development site tomorrow that we would want to acquire, then most likely we would be recommending the Low Mod Income Housing Asset Fund to acquire it,
Okay.
to then start to put the parameters of a project together, what other funding sources we might need, where we need to apply to, and all the appropriate levels of approvals that we'll have to get.
What is the low mod income asset fund?
It's the old redevelopment set-aside fund?
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
just a different name.
Right.
That's the one that you referred to earlier, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And I should mention, there's a small pot of money that we've been receiving, and for now, we're calling it the trust fund money. If you recall, a very old senior housing project refinanced through HUD. The funding to initially assist it was not federal home funds, was not set-aside funds, but the proceeds came back to us, and we put it into a fund that we're calling the asset fund. A very small number. So predominantly, if we have a project, we'd be looking at using low mod funds first, and then once a project is fully developed, then we would look at substituting any type of federal home money into it as well.
It sounds like the low mod income asset fund is a finite amount of money. I mean, at some point, these bonds or whatever, however this money is being accumulated, is just going to run out,
Correct.
and that'll be the end of it.
Exactly.
And we will not have new monies that we can use for low-income housing
Correct.
project
Probably in the
improvements.
next 2 years, that fund, will stop having deposits into that fund.
Right.
And then we're left with a very small amount of federal home funds and whatever else we can put together.
Okay, well, that's, I want to put that on everyone's radar, and my colleagues' radar, because that's going to be very, very problematic. How much money is there now?
In the low mod income asset fund? Off the top of my head, I would look, and we're operating at the budget time now. It's about $5 million we think we have, and we're anticipating a very large deposit coming from the bond proceeds, hopefully in this next fiscal year, of about $8 million.
Of an additional 8 million?
Correct.
And that's that, pretty much.
For the most part, that's that. We do believe there's one more loan repayment in the year after that, but we're talking about anywhere between 1 to possibly 1.5 million, not much more than that.
Got it.
So the potential of maybe 1 or 2 more projects, and then we'll be looking for another funding source.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Zovak. That's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Are there any more comments? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So we stand adjourned at 3:19 p.m.
Thank you. I call into order